Welcome to The Shoreline, brought to you by Shores and Islands, Ohio, where finding your Lake Erie love is a sure thing. Thank you for joining us. We bring you The Shoreline every week to give you the inside scoop on what's happening here in our island and coastal communities. I am Jill Bauer. I'm the PR manager for Shores and Islands, Ohio, and joining me today as my co-host is my friend, Brian Shiplet, who is also the Visitor Services Manager at our Port Clinton Welcome Center. Welcome to The Shoreline, Brian.
Thank you. Hi, Jill.
Hi, I'm so happy to have you with me, and it's November already. Looking ahead to the month of November, we've got some big things coming up events-wise, of course, but just this week is the annual Best of the Bay food competition at Cedar Point Sports Center. I feel like you and I have been at that event together before. Have we?
Definitely have. It's always a great event, and you get to try a whole bunch of crazy food.
Oh my gosh. And I know I always find new things. That's what's really fun about it as well. There's a lot of local restaurants and they're all competing for different awards, best cheeseburger, best pizza, best dessert. And, you know, it gives you the opportunity to maybe try something that you wouldn't order off of the menu or a restaurant you haven't been to. I know I've discovered some fun things at that event.
I think, was it last year or the year before they even had a donut competition?
Yes. It's way too much food for one person to eat in a sitting. I do remember that. The number of tickets you get.
So many offerings you get to, but that's great. You get to try from, like you said, from so many different places around the region. It's really fun.
Yeah, it is a really fun event, and that is coming up sometime this week. And beyond that, it's craft show season. It's the start of holiday events, holiday markets, all the tree lightings, and you know, we round out the month with all of the tailgate parties, the Ohio State-Michigan game. There's the run in Sandusky where you can run a Script Ohio or a Block M based on which team you're cheering for. And it all rounds out with Shop Small Saturday. So it's all about supporting local business and, you know, all of the little shops and things like that in our area. Where are you shopping this holiday season, Brian? Think about that. Like, what are some of the shops that you love?
Oh, I think I always visit Just For You on the Shop Small Saturday. And the other thing I like to do is just go wander around like downtown Marblehead, go into the Marblehead Soap Company, some of the other shops down there, maybe warm up with a glass of wine or a cup of coffee at Redfern, Rocky Point Winery and Redfern Inn. So I think it's a fun day to just go and go into all of our downtowns and find all of the small shops and all of the discounts that they'll have offered, that weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And I knew you'd have some good tips. I know you always know where all the local spots are. You're kind of in the know with all the things being there in Port Clinton. And also with Shop Small Saturday, several weeks ago on the podcast, we had Main Street Vermilion, and they do a big Shop Small Saturday push. So, keep Shores and Islands, Ohio in mind as we, enter into the holiday season. Make sure you're following along with us on all of our social media accounts to see what's coming up. And, of course, be sure to engage on our posts. We love comments and questions. We're always looking for suggestions on what you guys want to see and also who you want us to talk to on the podcast. You can find all of our social links on our website at shoresandislands.com. So one of the reasons I asked Brian to join me today is because not only is he an amazing asset to the Shores and Islands Ohio team, he's also a very talented musician, and he plays professionally with the Firelands Symphony Orchestra and the Firelands Symphony String Quartet. And today we get to talk about the orchestra. Yes. Brian, how long have you been in the orchestra?
I think I've been back playing full-time for probably about 10 years now. I took lessons from the Firelands Symphony School of the Arts when I was in high school. And so my first concert I performed was either in 1999 or 2000, with my, teacher at the time. And then was, in college and did different things. So didn't play for a number of years. But then once I came back to the area, I've been playing every season with them.
And you are a cellist, correct?
Cellist, yes.
Have you always been a cellist?
I started out playing piano when I was 6, and then I started trumpet a little later, and cello was the last instrument I started when I was 12. But it is
stuck.
it stuck, and it's the instrument I have my degrees in. So my bachelor's and master's are both in cello.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. As you know, Brian, and the listener probably doesn't know this, but I'm also in a very musical family, and I have lots of family members who either sing or play an instrument, who've been in, different organizations, but none in the orchestra. So I love talking to folks that play string instruments. I have a little pianist in my house, and aspiring to one day be great. He loves going to y'all's concerts. So let me tell the listener about the Firelands Symphony Orchestra. They are a nonprofit arts organization that actively provides high quality musical entertainment year round in this region of Ohio. The full symphony orchestra presents a spectacular concert season every year, plus outdoor and community concerts, special ensemble group performances, and educational events for all ages and styles. From high-quality symphonic concerts to hands-on community education and enrichment events, the FSO is dedicated to their mission of enriching lives through music. And we have a special guest joining us on the podcast today, and that is Ron Brooker. Brian, why don't you introduce Ron?
I would love to. Ron Brooker, who I will also say is a good friend of mine. We have played in our string quartet for, Ron, at least 20 years, I think, at this point together.
I think so, yes.
But Ron is the executive director for the Firelands Symphony Orchestra. While completing his first year as executive director, he is also beginning his 32nd season playing violin with the orchestra. Originally from Springfield, Ohio, Ron has his bachelor's and master's degrees in music education from Bowling Green State University. A former associate concertmaster of the Lima Symphony, he has played with the Mansfield and Springfield Symphony Orchestras and the Cleveland Pops. He is also the music director at Huron United Methodist Church. Ron currently lives in Norwalk, Ohio with his wife, Teresa, and their 2 cats. Welcome to the podcast, Ron.
Well, thank you, Brian, and hi, Jill.
Hi, I love that. I think all 3 of us have cats in common.
Oh, boy.
We do.
Music and cats. And I'm from Norwalk as well, so we have that connection as well. So looking at the Firelands Symphony website, I was doing a little bit of digging, and it looks like the orchestra loosely started in the early 80s, but it wasn't until 1992 when the name was solidified and the organization's 501c3 status. Have you been playing with the orchestra the entire time, Ron?
Yes, since 93 or 92, yes. It was a loose group of just amateur musicians that wanted to get together to play, and they started a community orchestra. And then in 92 or 93, they incorporated into a 501c3 and hired a conductor.
And you, in your introduction from Brian, he said you play the violin. Is that the only instrument that you play, or do you play others as well?
It's alleged that I play other things, but no, my violin is the primary instrument.
So what would you say is your favorite part of playing with the Firelands Symphony Orchestra?
Oh, goodness. Outside of the friends that you get to meet, the gift of just performing live music, I always end up leaving a rehearsal or a concert in a much better state of mind, both physically and mentally, than when I came. So it's a wonderful gift to be able to play. And then also, you're entertaining for others' enjoyment as well. So that's a neat plus too.
So how did you transition from musician in the orchestra to director?
Well, it's a rather funny story because we were without an executive director for over a year. And I was grumbling at the dinner table one night to my wife that we should be able to find somebody to take over. And she said, well, why don't you put your hat in the ring? I had not really thought of that beforehand, but it seemed like a pretty good match. And so I did, and they interviewed and hired me. So, I can thank my wife for all of that.
That's awesome.
So our concert season this year is kicking off on November 17th. Let's talk a little bit about the season. Many listeners have probably heard that there have been some construction delays with the State Theater. So we made the decision to move our entire 24-25 season back to Sawmill Creek Convention Center, where we've been performing for the last few seasons. We hope to return to the State Theater for 25-26. we are really looking forward to that day, and we know that they're doing everything they can to get the theater back up and running.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Would you like to speak to the venue and the resilience and flexibility of our orchestra to continue to perform year after year without a permanent performance home? How do you feel about that, Ron?
Well, it's certainly been a challenge for sure, especially after the COVID shutdown. It was just months after the COVID shutdown when the theater collapsed. So our first challenge was getting out of COVID and starting to perform again. And we were one of the first orchestras in Ohio to actually start playing and hiring our musicians back. The board and the executive director at the time decided to do what was called a flip season. And so we were only allowed to play outside. So they decided to have our entire season during the summer months. So we had 5 concerts in the summer, did the entire season. At different venues, high schools, wineries, whoever would have us at the time. It made concert going difficult, but our patrons are resilient, and they followed us as best as they could to all of these different places. Sawmill Creek at the time was undergoing renovations. It had just been sold to Cedar Fair, and so they were renovating it. And a couple of years ago, it became available when they opened up, and they were looking for people to rent their facility, and we seemed like a good fit because we'd be bringing people into the newly renovated Sawmill Creek so that they could show that facility off a little bit. It also gave us a home which had good accessibility, and it also allowed us to start developing our audience and growing our audience because we had one place to play. And the ballroom at the convention center there lends itself well to an orchestra concert, but we use Great Lakes Audiovisual, and we have a couple of giant screens on either side of the orchestra and cameras going during the concert so that the audience gets a little more immersive view of the concert itself. So that's been an advantage. So when we had to make the decision to go back to Sawmill Creek, it was going back to familiar friends and familiar territory.
Yeah, I'm sure it was not a hard decision, and lucky for you and lucky for, the guests of the concerts that it is a familiar place. It is, you knew that you could do that and that you're still going to be able to, put on your 24-25 season without a hitch.
Right. It was fortunate that since we had been there, it was basically flipping a switch and
exactly
moving back. There's still a lot of work that had to be done by the staff to make sure that the transition happened again back to Sawmill. But we look forward to the day when we get the green light from the theater and we get to go home.
Yeah. Well, let's go through this upcoming season as it's, starting in just a couple of weeks. We're going to go through show by show. So let's start with the first show, which is on Sunday, November 17th, An American Salute. Why don't you tell us about that one?
Well, we're excited about getting the season started, and we are going to be featuring pianist Catherine Brown, who will be performing George Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue, which 2024 is the 100th anniversary of that tune. So orchestras all over the country are playing Rhapsody in Blue, and so the company that's renting that music out is probably making good bucks this year. We also have a guest vocalist, Kirsten Kunkel, who's going to be singing some Broadway tunes, as well as it being close to Veterans Day. We always try to honor our veterans. We give tickets out to several of the veteran groups to bring them in, and we always make sure and honor all of our veterans on this concert.
Very cool.
Great. And then, just about a week later, November 23rd and 24th, our Firelands Symphony Chorale will be performing a concert, the Songs of Thanksgiving.
That's a unique concert, and Michael Schertz, who is the director and conductor of the chorale, does this wonderful, he weaves this tapestry of music and narration and storytelling, so it's actually one very large piece that has lots of different pieces in the middle of it. And the theme of this year's concert is called Making Our Garden Grow. And it's going to be talking about how the joy of growing things and harvesting and how all living things connect and intertwine with each other. We are having 2 performances only because last year we almost ran out of room. So we decided to expand it to a Saturday evening, November 23rd at 7:30. And then Sunday, November 24th at 4 p.m. Those concerts will be at St. Peter's and Paul Catholic Church in Sandusky.
Great. And then moving on through the season, always one of the most popular shows, I think, is the Holiday Pops concert. It's one that I've been to and also lamented not being able to get to, just because I always end up, what you don't know, Ron, is that my family has a Christmas tree farm, so Christmas is not an easy time for me to get away for things. But I always try to fit it in, if I can, to get to the holiday concert, and it's one that I have been to several times. So this year's is on Sunday, December 8th, back at the Sawmill Creek Convention Center, and it's called Home for the Holidays.
Yes, and we are bringing back Sandusky natives Lynn Wintersteller for this concert. Lynn has performed with us several times in the past. She is just a delight, and she has a wonderful program. It is very poignant, talking about home and Christmas, and what that means to her. It should be an exciting time. The chorale will be there also to lend a hand with the symphony, and it should just be a great time. There's rumored that there might be a jolly old red guy dressed in red there too, so you never know.
That's great. And then if people want to plan ahead a little bit for maybe a date night around Valentine's Day, our next concert will be on Saturday, February 15th with the theme of Love is in the Air.
Oh, yeah. Carl Topolo, our conductor, has this wonderful ability of being able to spin a neat concert. And this entire concert's basically one big old date. We're going to have some very familiar music that you associate with Valentine's Day. We are going to feature vocalist Natalie Green, who will be singing from the Great American Songbook. But we also will be featuring several soloists from the orchestra itself, and we're still waiting on confirmation on exactly who yet, but it's always nice that we are able to feature some of our own musicians to be able to play a solo with the orchestra too. And it should be a great night. And again, for someone going out, you can go out on Valentine's Day and then go out again the next night for the orchestra concert.
I like your way of thinking. 2 dates.
Mm-hmm.
2 date nights. Following that, the next concert is in March 22nd, and it is Beethoven's Ninth.
It's a big one. Yes. This is an entire Beethoven concert. We're going to do Leonore Overture number 3 to start. The chorale will be there, and they will be singing the Hallelujah from Christ on the Mount of Olives, as well as the magnificent Ninth Symphony of Beethoven, which is also in 2024. It's actually its 200th anniversary. Did not know that until I did some research on it, but it's 200 years ago he wrote that. But it should be a great time. Beethoven 9 is one of the anchor pieces for the season. If you don't already know it, you'll be humming it as you go out the door when we're done. So we encourage everyone to come to that concert.
I'm looking forward to that. And the next one, actually. So on April 6th, the chorale and a small group of musicians will be performing the Fauré Requiem. And interestingly, this is one of the few pieces that I have actually been in a chorale to sing and now will be playing as well on the cello. So looking forward to that one.
Yes. Well, and that's is a unique instrumentation for the chamber orchestra because it has only a single violin soloist. It's mostly just violas and cellos for the string section. So that's kind of different. But it'll be a good workout for the chorale because a couple weeks prior they're singing Beethoven full, bore German, and now they have to do this very delicate French piece, and it should show their versatility. This piece has been widely played, and it is one of the timeless chorale classics.
Just a reminder, too, that the chorale concert will be at the St. Mary's Catholic Church. So after that, this one is curious to me because, and our listeners may recall, anybody local is going to remember, about a year ago, we had a giant event in the area. The total solar eclipse was in April of 2024. So in April of 2025, your concert is called Through Space and Time. Is there a connection there, maybe?
Oh, maybe not with the eclipse, but I'm hoping that since it's been a little bit since the eclipse that NASA has had a chance to catch its collective breath. We are going to be working with NASA Glenn out of Cleveland, and they will be providing us some beautiful audiovisual materials. And we will be playing many space-themed, I'm using air quotes here, space-themed classics that will have these wonderful pictures from not only the Hubble telescope, but from other sources as well. And Connor Bogart O'Brien will be coming in to sing also several wonderful pieces. So it should be a very nice time. It's a lighter concert. It's not as heavy on the classic side. So it's a good concert to, if you're going to try out the orchestra for the first time, this would be a good concert to go to.
Oh, and I like how you said, you were loosely, in quotes, space related, because some of the songs on here are songs from Star Trek and
Yes.
Apollo 13 and even Rocket Man.
Yeah, well,
little Elton John in there.
Well, it's a bit of a stretch, but hey, Carl makes it work.
All right, and then our last concert for the season is going to be on May 24th, and this one, Made in America, I'm thinking we're probably going to be playing mostly American music, right, Ron?
Oh, I think you guessed it right on the nose there, Brian. This was originally going to be our opening night in October, but when the first set of delays came through to us, we decided we were going to still try and do the entire season at the theater, so we moved our October concert to May. Andres Cardenas is our violin soloist, and he is an excellent violinist. He graciously had the date open, so we were able to still bring him on. And so it being the Saturday of Memorial Day, the theme of the concert, honoring America and performing American composers, kind of just lent itself, made it a very easy decision. So he'll be playing the Barber Violin Concerto, but we'll also be doing pieces by Copland, Leonard Bernstein, John Williams, and also giving tribute to those men and women who gave the greatest sacrifice for our freedoms.
That's awesome. So I want to put both of you gentlemen on the spot quickly. We'll start with Brian. So going through the season as a performer, what concert are you most looking forward to performing this year?
Oh, that's a difficult one. There's so many good things. I honestly have to say I have not played Beethoven's Ninth in quite a number of years, and I'm really looking forward to being able to play that one again. Most people know the Ode to Joy at the end, but if you haven't heard the entire symphony, the first three movements are absolutely amazing pieces of music. So I think that's the one I'm looking the most forward to this season.
All right, Ron, same question.
Boy, I have pretty much the same answer. That's a tough question because, there are parts of every single concert that there's something to look forward to. But I'll have to agree with Brian. Beethoven 9 is such an iconic piece, and I've played it several times with different orchestras. Just so you know, the violin part is actually 26 pages long. So, it's a monster work, and It's a workout for the orchestra. But it's nice to be able to sink your teeth into some really meaty parts, and it's also as much fun to play as it is to listen. They're, like Brian said, the first three movements are amazing. And for just the whole concept of the fact that Beethoven could not hear at all, and he wrote this thing, and this was just out of his mind's ear, if for a lack of a better term. All of this, he was not able to hear what he had composed, and that just makes it so poignant.
That is very cool. So folks listening, reminder, that one is on March 22nd. And as I understand it, Ron, both individual performance tickets and season packages are still available?
Yes, they are. You can go to our website, www.firelandssymphony.com, and you can purchase tickets online, both single tickets and also subscription packages. You can do the entire season. You can do just the principal season of just the orchestra. You can pick 4 concerts or pick 3 concerts if you'd like. Or if you want, you can call the office here at 419-621-4800, and a helpful person on the other end of the line will be able to take care of you.
What is the pricing structure for individual shows?
So individual shows for the regular season concerts are $35. Student tickets are $5. For the holiday pops, the individual ticket is $40. Students are still $5.
And do all tickets need to be purchased ahead of time, or do you have tickets available at the door?
Tickets are available at the door. If you prefer to wait, I would not. only because there's limited seating at Sawmill because of because of the way the room is set up. So there's limited seating, so it's best to go ahead and get your tickets before the concert. But if you get a hankering for a concert the day of, come on down and find out. There'll be someone there.
Brian, is there anything else that you would like to add about the upcoming season or the orchestra in general?
Well, I would encourage people in the area, if you haven't been, come to one of our shows. If you don't think that you like the orchestra, I think that you will change your mind once you come and hear one of our concerts. That we have, as you can see going through, we have something for almost everyone, from classical to pops to the American songbook. So, I think, come and hear live music made by local musicians.
Absolutely. Anything else you wanted to add, Ron?
Well, I'll just piggyback on Brian's comments a little bit. You will be pleasantly surprised at the level of professionalism. We have a very large-sounding orchestra in a small town. Our closest competition, orchestra-wise, is either in Toledo or Cleveland, and so this is a wonderful opportunity to get a very professional concert. And also, within every concert, like Brian said, there's always something for everyone. Carl Topolo, our conductor, does a very, very nice job of placing things in so there's something that will hopefully appeal to everyone at every concert.
That's great. So one more time, Ron, please give us the website where people can get tickets, order subscriptions, and learn about these shows.
Sure. It's www.firelandsssymphony.com. And you can there's a ticket button you can click, or go under the events page and it'll be there as well. Or you can call the office here at 419-621-4800.
Perfect. Special thanks to Ron Brooker from the Firelands Symphony Orchestra for joining us today. And thank you to Brian, of course, for joining me as well. Of course, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts so that you don't miss a minute of the action here in Shores and Islands, Ohio. You can also find more information, including past episodes, online at shoresandislands.com. And we'll see you next time on The Shoreline.